brofist to you all! Tuesday! Oh, you know what makes me really happy? When people get so mad about something really insignificant. You know when you're in such a bad mood that anything will set you off. We all do it. We all do it, and it's really good if you tell your partner straight after, wow, we're in such a bad fucking mood today. And they're like, I know. The worst thing ever is when you're in that really bad mood and she's in that really bad mood or he's in that really bad mood and both of you just annoy the fuck out of each other. Oh, that's the worst because you argue over nothing. I have broken doors, okay? The door in the kitchen downstairs is broken purely because of this insane rage. I don't get angry very, very much. I'm one of the most laid-back people I have ever met. It takes a lot to piss me off. The only person in history who can piss me off are two people, are Andy, Mr. Ghost, and of course, Emma. Emma being prime suspect number one. What's the worst thing in the universe you can do if you have a long-term relationship with somebody and you live with them and like they have that power to really fucking annoy you? Is make the most elementary mistake on something really simple. If you do this, this gives them open power to destroy your fucking world. It happened to me yesterday. We had been on holiday, as you know. Leading up to the holiday, we had emptied our cupboards and fridges and refused to go and do the big shop. We refused to do it. We go shopping once a month, and whatever we buy at that big shop is what we consume, and if we run out, we eat less. It works quite well. We have a generally fat week, then it sort of tapers off. In the last week, we're starving students. But it works well for us. It saves us a lot of money rather than shopping every time. No problem. So leading up to the holiday, we of course consumed everything possible. We consumed. We were down to real student food, you know, beans on toast. Bit of beans on, nothing wrong with a bit of beans on. Eating the remaining porridge, sachets, whatever it might be, or oatmeal if you're in the US. But yesterday it was time for the big shop. Let's go and do it. We're back from holiday. Let's go and do the big shop. Get everything rocking and rolling, all that good stuff. So we did. We went shopping. It was relatively late. So to send off our holiday, we had a takeaway on the way home, which seems obtuse after just doing all the shopping. But it was around 9 PM. We couldn't be arsed cooking anything at all. And the place where we shop, which is Asda or Walmart if you're in the US, just didn't have anything fresh and available, like a chicken or something like that to make some chicken sandwiches. Didn't have anything like that. So we ordered some takeaway. We get home and we've got a ton of shopping. Loads and loads of shopping. It came to £243. That's how much our monthly shopping is, which is not bad. That's relatively cheap for two people for a whole month. And that involved all our cleaning products and all that kind of shit. You know, you're spraying. Nothing worse than when you get your own place and you move out from your parents and you have to clean your own toilet. Oh, that's the worst. Especially when Emma is like too girly to do that. So I end up cleaning the toilet all the time. And she's the one that destroys it. Oh, I can get my digs in. And we came home. And the fridge was a bit of a mess because we'd left it empty for quite a few days, and any bits of shit that were in there sort of congealed and formed like a scum. So the fridge wasn't looking particularly fantastic. You didn't want to put your tongue on it, that's for sure. So I elected being heroic and manly while Emma was putting the shopping away. Little tip, doesn't work for everybody, but it works for us, is Emma loves to put the shopping away. She has a system for it. I think I have a better system. I, of course, am wrong in her eyes. So what I do is I generally tidy up around her while she puts the shopping away. Because she refuses to put the shopping away on her own. However, that is what she actually does. Realistically, she just wants me to be there and be a part of the whole adventure of putting the shopping away. I just walk around and I clean the bags up and I prepare things to go upstairs. These are like hair gels and shampoos and shit. They go upstairs. This goes in Ben's room. That's the washing room. That kind of shit. I just sort all that stuff out while she puts it away. So I notice the fridge is a mess. So I elect as one of the things to avoid trying to help her, which would annoy her, to clean the fridge. The fridge needs a good clean. It's empty. I'll do it now. Let's do it quickly. Awesome. This is one of those moments where you do something so elementary. I can configure and edit videos very, very quickly with multiple audio levels, considering many layers of video editing and all that kind of stuff, mixing sound effects and people's voices and then match them to the correct decibel levels. I can do that really quickly. I'm pretty good with my hands. I've built a lot of things. I've constructed a lot of things. I can easily swap cards between PCs and internals and stuff like that. I failed massively. And she noticed. And there is that moment when you do something stupid and you know you've done it wrong and you pray to the heavens that she hasn't noticed. It's just like, oh no. And her eyes go, that sixth sense that she has, and she notices. What was it? I put the drawers. A fridge has several layers, and these layers are, you know, drawers. I put one in backwards, and she noticed. Then ensues the most bizarre situation ever, where she takes over, and she just gains this authoritative Zeus-style right above everything you've ever done in history. It doesn't matter how technically minded you are, you fucked up, she noticed, and then proceeds to go, get out of the way, I'll do it, you're a fucking idiot, how could you not put the drawers in correctly? And you're like, I know I put it in backwards, I'm just about to swap it, bah, fucking move, get out of the way, the whole thing, get out of there, you're just making it so much more work than it needs to be. And it's like she's got this huge badge of ownership over your fucking balls. And she's like, yeah, I got you now, pig. I'm going to fuck you up. I'm going to cook your goose, baby. And she's all over you. She's in your face. Oh, it's a nightmare. Well, that's what happened to me last night. And then I enjoyed some lovely takeaway. And then she has to come, of course, get your own back. She has to ask me to light the scented candles because it's too difficult for her. So I have to go in like a boss and find the barbecue lighter. And boom, 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 all the candles are lit. She couldn't cope with lighting the candles. I'm the king again. I am everything that is good. And then I proceed to take a dump while she's in the bath right next to her. I didn't really do that, but I thought about doing it. And that's what's important. I thought about doing it. Cool. Let's move on to some gaming news and technology news, because we love stuff like this. Some of the guys in the chat may have noticed that Ghosty's asking me to go see Dread. I want to add a movie review section to my YouTube channel. I do. We talk about movies, me and Ghost, more than anything else. More than games. More than anything in the universe, we talk about good stuff that we enjoy watching. We're both big movie buffs. Most people find it very annoying if we get a little bit tipsy, because we generally just reel off our best quotes ever from movies. And we do that a lot. People find that very annoying. So I love movie stuff. I want to add a movie section to the channel in some respect. I'm not sure how I could do it. I want to do it in our Ghost and Preach style. Like we did Gamescom stuff, we did that in our own style. I kind of want to do that. I want to do that in some fashion. So we might go and see Dread. We're avoiding Total Recall. Apparently it is as bad as we suspected. Total Recall without Mars. Ugh. But on the movie subject, before we go into the gaming and technology news, they are remaking it. Quick poll, because you guys are all fucking younger, I assume, than me in general. There'll be a few older than me. How many of you have never seen Stephen King's It, the movie? It's just called It. I want to know. I want to know how many people have seen it. Just say yes or no. If you're in the chat, there's like well over 100 plus of you in the chat. Just say yes or no. Please, just yes or no. Ghosty says for Total Recall, not even a three-titted woman can save that film. I don't think we want three-titted women anymore. It sounds good on paper. That's too much breast for me, and there's no gap in the middle for my head. You know, just saying. Don't want to be too rude. Just saying. So, yes, 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 Tim Curry. No, 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 no. A lot of no's. A lot of no's, a lot of no's, a lot of no's. A lot of people who fear clowns. Yeah, It is the epitome of horror, especially if you're around the age of, say, 14 to, I think it's an 18s, or originally it was an 18s, but who waits till they're 18 to watch these films, am I right? We're watching porn at 12 these days. Fuck, if I trust the TV, everybody's getting pregnant around the age of 11 anyway. So It is one of these films that if you're around 14 to about probably 17, and you've never really been terrified, It has the potential to do that. It is old school as fuck. It looks really old, because it is really old. But it's fucking terrifying. It mixes in the idea of a ghost horror, which we tend to have now, and clowns, which people are super afraid of clowns. I've never been afraid of clowns, but mixing in this natural fear some people have of clowns, and with the whole scary ghost thing, and mixing that together is really clever. Good old Stephen King for doing that. And then putting it on screen, and it's played by Tim Curry, who plays Pennywise the Clown. And it is one of those things that I remember from my childhood as being really terrifying. Give you an idea, my brother, who is considerably older than me by about 20 years, and is fucking awesome. He just completed the Cardiff Marathon at like nearly age 50, and did really, really well as well. So big props to my bro. What a fucking hero. We're going to go see him run. He's just discovered health. Our family has a notorious issue with healthiness. We're all big guys, really big guys, and we naturally are quite bulky. We also eat shit, not actual feces, but we tend not to eat the best. But my brother has really got into his health and started doing marathons and stuff. It's fucking awesome. And he recently did one, so big props to him. We're going to go see him next week as well. He introduced me to films like Predator, where men are skinned alive, and Aliens, which is, you know, fucking things bursting out of chests, and of course smart guns. Around about age 9 or 10, I want to say. Very, very young, and I loved them. The Running Man, these were all staple films. I mean, we had things like Big. How many of you have seen Big? I want to know about that. Who's seen Big? Hopefully a lot of you have seen Big. Around the time you should be watching films like Big, I was watching The Running Man, Predator, Total Recall, really all these kind of films, just absolutely drinking them in. I loved the old school action hero films, even the original Universal Soldiers around that time as well. Fucking class films, absolutely loved them. And I hate that they're remaking a lot of them, especially Total Recall. I'm pretty sure a remake of The Running Man is coming as well. But then I discovered today they're remaking It. This can just be so horrifically bad. It is so classic because it is old school. And it's got that simple special effects style before CG. Pre-CG special effects have a certain classiness about them that I don't think we see anymore. When something is CG, it ruins the moment for me if it's noticeably CG. Perfect example, the Matrix 2. Is the Matrix 2 Reloaded? I think it's Reloaded. The Matrix 2 is Reloaded. Little confirmation in there. No, no one's seen... Yeah, a load of people seen Big. Fucking awesome. Yeah, the Tom Hanks film. Like, the remakes of these films really... Oh, they drive me crazy. Because I haven't seen a good one yet. I haven't. Conan, awful. Conan, the original. We watched Conan in my brother's house so many times, the original Conan. We loved that movie. In fact, I had to show it to Untriel. There's a scene coming in The Way of the Warrior 2, which is related to the original Conan. And when I was talking to Untriel about The Way of the Warrior 2 and things we could and couldn't do, he couldn't relate it. He's like, I'm like, dude, it's like this scene in Conan. Because I assume you've seen it. He's like, no, I've not seen Conan. I was like, you've not seen Conan? What the hell? You're freaking me out, bro. You're freaking me out big style. So I had to show him Conan. I had to go find a copy of Conan and watch it for him. So, well, watch it with him so he could see it, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, 3 is Revolution. Yeah, so in The Matrix Reloaded, the second one, there's the Burly Brawl scene, I believe it's called. And it's entirely CG, and I don't know why, but I felt like I was the only person in the cinema who noticed that it was entirely CG, and it looked like shit. It looked like absolute garbage. The faces were all wrong, the clothes were all stupidly smooth like they wouldn't be. And I watched this whole fight scene, which should have been immense if they could have worked it without being CG, and it was CG. I mean, they even had close-ups of Keanu's face when he's spinning on the pipe. He's like sideways on the pipe, and it's all CG. Why do that? It just looked like garbage to me. I really thought that was some of the most atrocious ways of ruining a moment. And it doesn't have any of that. It's pre-CG. It's all done with like actual, you know, blood popping and all that kind of stuff. It's so cool. So if you're if you've not seen it, I recommend you go and watch it. Find it somewhere. I'm sure it's free these days online somewhere. Not as a pirate thing, but I don't think anybody's selling it on VHS or DVD anymore. Maybe somewhere. If it is, it'll be in a cheap bin for like $1 or something along those lines. But go and check that out. Okay. Oh, and of course the what's it called? The Atlas, Cloud Atlas, the new thing from the guys who made The Matrix. While we're on topic, what the hell is that film about? Who's read the book? Because that film looks interesting. And plus it's got Hugo Weaving in it, which is always awesome. And Tom Hanks. 2 thumbs fresh. From no longer the Wachowski brothers, the Wachowski siblings. Because of course one of them had a sex change immediately after The Matrix was completed. Interesting. Today I learned. Stick that up your Reddit and smoke it. Okay, gaming news and stuff like that. First of all, Apple is showcasing, it's all about technology realistically. Apple is going to show the new iPhone pretty much on Saturday or Friday. I think it's Friday on Saturday. They're going to show off the new iPhone 5. Why is this interesting to me? I'm a new boy to smartphones. I avoided smartphones like the plague. Now I can literally not live without my iPhone. Everything I do for business, for anything like that, or even just talking to friends, is all done through my phone. More so than my PC. My phone is an iPhone. I have the iPhone 4S. My iPhone does more and is faster in general than my PC in some respects. It's just incredibly useful. What is the iPhone 5 going to showcase? The iPhones have always been 5 years ahead of the previous generations of phones. We've just seen the new Nokia phone. Has everybody seen this? The new Nokia phone has wireless charging. And they've signed agreements with places like McDonald's, Burger King, motorway and freeway service stations and airports that will enable wireless charging. If you are in that area, it will charge your phone. Just by being in the area, it wirelessly charges your phone up if you're in these areas. What is the iPhone 5 going to showcase? It's always pretty exciting. The iPhone 4 was pretty awesome. The 4S is just a slight upgrade, more camera stuff than anything. The camera is awesome. What's the iPhone 5? I'm excited about this stuff. I love gadgets and toys. I don't have a lot of them. And I really hate spending money on myself. I detest spending money on myself. Just giving money to other people, I have no issue with. Buying people a round of drinks or some dinner, I'm fine with. Taking people out, I'm fine with. If it comes to buying myself a pair of shoes, it's hell on earth. Ghosty will attest to that. I really hate spending money on myself. This is one of the first things I've spent money on myself in a long ass time. I'm really interested to see what's going to happen. In other news, Sony is showcasing their they've developed a new artificial reality headset. We spoke about artificial reality a little while ago in terms of gaming. We were all of headsets we're not really into. Sticking things in the back of our heads like Matrix. Look at all this stuff that's linking together. It's like I pre-planned it. Is something we're into. We're into something that immerses us into a world completely. A headset will never feel as good as just looking the fuck around. But Sony think they've cracked it with their new headset. It looks pretty stylish. It looks very much like some sort of Japanese car from the future. That sort of white, plasticky bubbles type stuff. I've seen the pictures of it. But they're going to showcase exactly what it can do in the next couple of days. I'm pretty excited about this. Sony tend not to do anything really big and make a big fuss over things unless it's really, really good. What are we going to see? We're going to see a next movement into artificial reality. It's kind of like this whole artificial virtual reality stuff is sort of getting there, but it's still not quite good enough. Every time we see it, we're like, yeah, that's okay. Like I was really blown away by the 3DS. Has that reality augmentation or virtual augmentation. I forget what it's called. It was really cool. You know, things unfolded out of your floor and stuff like that. But it was all based on the principle of having a fixed point it could deal with. What's the headset going to show for us? The movies have spoiled it, have they not? The movies have spoiled this. We see things like Minority Report, The Matrix, obviously. And we see Gamer. If you've ever seen Gamer, it's a terrible, terrible movie with Gerard Butler, Leonidas, in it. It's an awful movie, but it has this whole immersion aspect to it. And the kid's got this virtual reality arena, which still looks shit to me even in the movie. The movies have sort of spoiled what we think AR should be. Artificial reality should be like Star Trek. The prime example is Star Trek. And if you're not a Trekkie nerd, what the fuck are you doing here if you're not a Trekkie nerd? Oh my god. Get down with your Trek. There's a reason that Picard owns. Okay? Well then of course we've got the holodecks. Who doesn't want a holodeck? Are you fucking kidding me? Of course I want a holodeck. I want it now. I will literally hand over something of mine that is really precious. I will give you, Ben and Emma, deluxe package for a holodeck if that exists. I would fucking love a holodeck. I would never leave my house. Are you kidding me? No, I'm not even just talking about porn, which is the obvious application of holodecks for the majority of people who would get them, right? Let's not kid ourselves. If holodecks existed, nobody would leave the house. Oh, you want to have sex with the super sexy model from... What was the chick's name in Transformers 3? Who replaced Megan Fox? Who looks really bizarre. She's English. But she looks really freaky. But, okay. She's really hot. Holodeck, recreate this chick. Let's go and do the business. And I'm sure that holodecks would be disgusting places, especially public ones. Let's imagine holodecks existed. Only places like bars and sort of specialist places could actually install a holodeck. They would be the dirtiest places ever. Oh, I would never go in a public holodeck. That would be gross. That would be absolutely gross. Got all these guys. Rosie Huntington. Boo! You see? When a hot chick... Nobody ever heard of Rosie Huntington. I think she's got a third name as well. Rosie Huntington Whiteley. Good Google. Good Google. Nobody ever heard of her until she was in Transformers 3. Now everybody would have ran to their holodecks and done something awful in there. Okay, daily comment. You ready for the daily comment? This needs some acting. It needs some monster. This is my last monster. I'm going on a monster cleanse. Watch the IRL video for that one. We're going to do a month cleanse together. It's going to be pretty awesome. Oh, these blinds, how much I hate them. Okay, daily comment. Coming up. Broosh. This is from Josh Randell. Josh Randell on the Subtlety Mr. Pandaria gameplay video. I'm going to read it as he wrote it, and then I'm going to read it how I read it. Two very different things, as he wrote it and as I read it. You know why you didn't like the subtlety spec? It's not a damn PvE spec! Exclamation mark spam. It is unviable for PvE, and funnily enough, Assas is better for PvP in patch 5.04. Combat is the best for PvE. Sub is useless right now. This is how I read it. This is how I read it. You know why? You know why he didn't like subtlety? You know? Do you know why? It's a damn PvE spec. It's not a damn PvE spec. And you're a PvE guy. That's why. You know why he didn't like it? It's not a PvE spec. It isn't. It's not a PvE spec. You know what's even funny? You know what's funny? Assassination's better for PvP now. Combat's better for PvE. Subtlety's useless right now, man. Fuck. That's how I read it. I'm fucking serious. That is what I read when it goes into like caps. It's like I'm making the fucking point, man. This is what it's like. Ah. And then I turn around and see that people are fucking rocking subtlety in PvE and PvP. People are rocking the shit out of it. So it's just this whole fucking, you know, the class is broken thing is just so cool to me. I absolutely adore it. The whole thing is fucking crazy. But it's just the way it just went into this caps lock spam, these fucking exclamation marks everywhere. It's like, it's not damn PvE spec. Ah! Just all this fucking rage going on right now. Yeah, and all the guys in the chat, like the live audience, like, sub's fine in PvE. I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, no! Not! It's not at all! Oh, fucking hilarious. It's so funny. Yeah, and you guys who were trying to get on the daily comment, don't think I don't know who you are. That's so obvious. It needs to be subtle. This was genuine rage. Genuine rage. Absolutely loved it. Okay, let's move on to some WoW email stuff. And then we're going to look at MMO Champion stuff. We're going to do this email, then we're going to do the MMO Champion stuff. And then I'm going to take your questions. If you've got any questions in the live audience. I wanted to bring this up while I was in theatre mode. Because it's cool. It's a continuation of a story that we heard last week. And there's nothing better than a continuing story on my drama soap opera of the Daily Preach. Who remembers Ben? Not my dog. Ben was the subject of an email sent in to us by Craig. Craig was thinking of leaving his guild. He was pissed, and he was pissed because of Ben. Fucking Ben. And we talked about this. He sent this email. Ben is with the Guildmaster. He's from a different guild, is our Ben. Ben is from a different guild. Craig's guild is led by a lady baller, a mistress, as we dubbed her, this Mistress of the Night. And then Ben and the Mistress of the Night have collided in this atomic fusion of love, this passionate moment across the stars of World of Warcraft. And Ben has an alt in Craig's guild. And Ben was quickly promoted up to officer status and sort of co-GM. And all these kind of terms were being thrown around about Ben. And Craig thought Ben was a bit of a dick. And so did I, until we reflected on the fact that Craig had failed to mention anything specific Ben had done. Ben had just come into the guild with his girlfriend and was like around. His presence was just generally there. He hadn't led any raids, although he had some sort of raid leader title attached to his role in the guild. He had like this officer rank, but he hadn't actually put anything together. He was doing nothing. As far as we could tell, Ben was actually just fine and dandy. So we posed the question back to Craig, what has Ben actually done? Why are you pissed at Ben? Craig, like a total gangster, absolutely replied. Let's have a little read. He opens the email saying, I'm sorry that my previous email wasn't clear, and so on and so forth. He found it hilarious calling him bitter, which I'm not normally, but I just don't like Ben. That was how he put it. He said, I found it hilarious that you called me bitter, which we did. We said, it sounds like you're a bit bitter about Ben. Maybe you were trying to get it in with the Mistress of the Night. Am I right? Which I'm not normally, but I just don't like Ben. We don't like Ben. But he hopes he makes a bit more sense in this one. Before, when I said that the old GM for the last guild was too hardcore, some of these are being used, which he had done was force people to raid or get kicked from the guild, which often happens with a motivated guy. It's like, raid or fuck off, you know? I'm trying to turn this into a raid guild. If you're just going to hang around and generally piss about, leave, which is a generally bad attitude, because part of raiding is also creating an environment where people have fun. Just because people don't raid, it doesn't mean they're not great people to be around. That's cool. Now he's made it into a hardcore raiding guild for only age 25 plus. So our old GM has left. He's gone by the wayside. He's found himself a hardcore raiding guild. Now we've got a generally social, casual guild led by the Mistress of the Night, and Craig is involved there along with another chap as co-GMs. Now it turns out, okay, the story goes deeper, Jeremy Kyle style, is that Ben plays the same class as Craig. Ooh, Ben, you fucking foul beast. They're both DKs. Now, Craig, who's our gangster, we're looking after him. He's a baller. We're trying to stick up for Craig. We're doing our best here. Craig also was a DPS DK, an unholy DK primarily, but he also carried a blood spec to help out the other ballers in his guild, which is cool. I used to do the same thing. If I was primarily DPS, I always kept a blood spec handy. Should the raid call for it, I was your man. Should the guys need a 5-man tank, I was your man. All good stuff. Ben also has a blood DK tank spec. Ben. Bastard. Now, it was always... the message in the guild has changed to this. Ben's ult came with us, and now his DK seems to be doing the same thing. Now, if anyone needs boosting in the dungeons or the old raids, they all say in one harmonious scream across the guild chat, let's just wait for Ben to come online. Yeah, that's what's happening. So Craig is online. He has his blood DK tank spec. He's ready to go. The guys are looking for a tank, but they're just going to wait for Ben to come online. They don't care about Craig. So Craig's obviously feeling a little bit pushed out because his friends, his fellow guildies, don't want him to tank. They'd rather wait for Ben. Something really loud just happened outside. Ben is the only person in the house, which is ironic considering what's going on. One moment. Ben? You're panting. I'm telling a story. Out you go. Go on, out. Out, out, out. Out. Go on, you go. Goodbye. Okay. So Craig is obviously being a little bit pushed out because all the guys are waiting for Ben to come online. Well, and he's just feeling pushed out. He wants to know, should he leave the guild? I think yes. But I'm going to be an absolute asshole with you now, which people sort of expect from me now. My gut instinct when I read this email was quite simply, as soon as I saw, let's wait for Ben to come online, Craig, are you not a very good tank? Be honest. Are you not a very good tank? Something is making them prefer Ben over you. In a world of anonymous players, their reasons are actually very limited. Either Ben is super fucking hilarious, like going in a 5-man with Ben is like going to the circus on acid. It's the best! Not that I'm promoting drugs in any way. But it's generally like, Ben is a total gangster. Why are they doing that? So, are you not a very good tank, Craig? That's what popped into my head straight away is Ben a better tank, and therefore things are going to be okay. I can't think of many other reasons why. Either Ben is super fun, super hilarious for some bizarre reason, like he's just the guy you want at every party, in which case it's not uncommon to find people who are unhappy with Ben. If Ben walks into your life, he can make you feel a little bit small. Or is he just a really awesome player? He could be. Moving on into this, should you leave? It sounds like you're really unhappy. I think it probably is time to leave. I think so. I think there's a definite reason there to move on. I don't think you should go, oh, fuck you, Ben, and leave. I think you should just generally say, you know what? I don't feel like I need it anymore. I don't think there's a place for me here anymore. I'm going to look to go elsewhere. I think that's okay to do. If you're particularly unhappy with sort of social drama, nothing worse in a guild than social drama. Nothing kills a guild quicker than social drama. When drama pops up, that's okay. Loot drama can be sorted because that's generally contained to one person or just a few people who are the same sort of class. Oh, they get the Skull of Gul'dan over us. Those kind of people. That's a very limited, sort of segmented little area that you can deal with. It's rather niche. It's sorted. It's no problem at all. At worst, you might lose a couple of warlocks. That's not the end of the world for a guild. It's not. However, social drama affects everybody. Affects absolutely everybody. It's like tendrils moving through everybody. It's a discussion that keeps happening on Vent after the raid is finished. That's awful. Every time the raid's finished and certain people leave your TeamSpeak or your Ventrilo or something along those lines, suddenly people start to pipe up about social drama, because people on the internet love social drama. People like me instantly quit the channel, not interested, but it's going on in your party chat, it's going on in your class channels, it's happening everywhere, and people get really pissed off with it. And if there's a lot of social drama going on in a guild, it's time to either say, hey, there's a lot of shit here I'm really not happy with, voice your opinions. But of course you're voicing your opinions to a GM. She has the final say. It's over her boyfriend or you. You're going to get fucking booted. Or just say, look, I'm not happy with the way things are. I think it's all getting a bit twisted with the whole Ben thing. I have no issue with you two. I wish you the best, but I'm going to move on. And try and keep it quiet, because people will see it as attention whoring as well. People are like, oh, he just wants to cause a drama. Causing drama is even worse. Ask Ghost. Ghost loves causing drama. Ghost causes drama every fucking way. Every fucking day, Ghost is causing some drama somewhere in his life. He's a drama machine, and I love him for it. It's fucking awesome. So I think it is time we move on in answer to your email. But if you want to submit to us any more anecdotes about Ben and his wily ways with the Mistress of the Night, we'll be more than happy to talk about them. Let's move on to our subject of the day. As our audience grows and grows and grows, 10 or 25 man raiding and you. This is the subject of today, the main subject. I did leave it to like 30 minutes into the fucking video to actually get on some WoW sub stuff, but I enjoyed everything I talked about today, and it's my show, so there you go. Fix the light. I can't. There's nothing I can do. That's so annoying, isn't it? My God. How's that? Okay. That's just done nothing. Okay, that's it. I'm changing the way I do the daily preach from now on. I'm changing it. I've had enough. I've had enough. I'm not doing that again. As of tomorrow, the daily preach will be back over there, away from this fucking obscene window that is covered in blinds and doesn't fucking block light. This room is like pitch black except for streams of light. Tomorrow, it's all going back. I'm moving everything. I'm moving the whole fucking room as soon as this thing finishes today. I've had enough. I'm done with it. It's so annoying. Buy some curtains. Yeah, fucking right. Just buy more stuff. That is most of the suggestions I see. Oh, go buy some curtains. Go and buy this. When we asked, do you want to see this or this, you guys are like, just buy everything. We just can't. We can't. I can't justify more money on curtains and stuff. We just bought a capture card so we can stream at 1080 and stuff like that. So I'm changing it all back. I've had enough. 10 or 25 man rating and you. Ghostcrawler's been at his tweet machine again. I love the fact that Ghostcrawler is tweeting. It's just ridiculous, the amount of stuff that he's coming out with on a regular basis. I can't imagine how much of a wreck his brain is right now. Not even the protection of being behind your screen can cope with this situation. There's a lot of fuss about cross-realm zones and playing with your friends. What about PvE players? Will they get flagged for PvP? Who cares, man? Really. The odd gank. You don't get ganked that much while you're leveling. You just don't. Okay. On to the PvE stuff, because that's what we care about mostly in our game of World of Warcraft. We want it to improve, we want it to get better, we want it to be awesome in all ways. So it's interesting to me when topics about PvE come up, and he's replying on a much more regular basis now, which I think is a huge mistake. Ghostcrawler, if you ever watch this show, stop it. You're giving too much information back to people who can't handle too much information. Trust me, we talked about it yesterday. Some people just cannot handle an influx of information. Do you think LFR should be harder so players can't see the content with some effort? 7 people AFK'd on the beta looking for raid. If you have not done the looking for raid on beta yet, I was kind of considering doing some sort of basic run-throughs of the LFR so you guys are kind of ready. It's so easy. It's disgraceful. It's abominably easy. It's just... oh, it's unattractively easy looking for raid at this moment on the beta realms. As this guy's saying, even with the testers, 7 people were AFK in the raid and still the dungeon was clear. That is awful. That is absolutely atrociously bad. It makes me really sad. Ghostcrawler replies that Dragon Soul isn't a great test. It has been out for months. Everyone had to run it and most outgear it. They seem to have this issue that everybody had to run looking for raid. If you're going to make ridiculous set bonuses, especially for tanks that affect raid-wide abilities, even with shitty stats, because let's not forget, looking for raid stats were worse than Fireland's heroic gear. They were, but the set bonuses are retarded. Do not throw that back at the community's face. Well, you all had to run looking for raid, so obviously you think it's really easy and boring. Because of you, okay? That is your fault. Don't throw that in our face as a reason looking for raid seems easy. Looking for raid is easy, okay? Let's look at General Vezax. The fact that that ball automatically goes back to Vezax is simply ridiculous. Even if it took one person to target it, generally the other tank, to actually position and fire that ball backwards and forwards, or just to make sure that ball goes into the range and back to the boss, that would be so much more interesting than ignoring the entire fight. It's just a block of health. General Vezax is a block of health in looking for raid. It's ridiculous. Absolutely disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. It makes me sick. It really does make me sick that people get loot from that boss. You can imagine me trying to make a guide for General Vezax and looking for raid. And there are equivalent bosses in the Mr. Pandaria looking for raid. There are equivalent bosses where you do nothing. It's just a block of HP. And you can completely ignore everything. From the DPS perspective, so this is my video, yeah? Holla ballers! It's Preacher! We're doing some looking for raid. We're looking at Sulong! From the DPS perspective, you DPS the boss. Boom! Healer perspective, you heal the guys. Boom! Tanking perspective, you tank the boss. Boom! End of guide! Give me revenue! Fucking awful. There's my video, you know? Absolutely atrocious. Looking for raid has to become harder. Otherwise, raiding is just going to disappear. I do think this is the last, if not Cataclysm was the last expansion we will see truly competitive raiding that matters. Competitive raiding has dwindled in its popularity over the years. That's a fact. Cataclysm has no big... Mr. Pandaria has no big guy yet. We're hoping to see Garrosh or something like that later down the line. There's nothing there that's awesome. Nobody cares about Spider Queen getting killed in the Shower of Fear. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody can tell the difference now whether that's the first boss or the last boss. If I say it's the Bug Queen... Well, it's a queen, so it kind of feels like the last boss, but we've had queens, you know, various other points of raids before. It's not clear. If I say fucking Deathwing, you know it's the last boss. Arthas, the Lich King, you know he's the last boss. Nefarian, you know he's the last boss. The Bug Queen, I don't even know her fucking name. I couldn't care less. Raiding's dying. We don't want it to die. We don't want it to die. Any chance we can see challenge mode raids? Yeah, they're called normal raids and hardcore raids. Challenge mode raids? Set your own timers. You're raiders. You should be motivated to do that. You don't need Blizzard to add a timer to raids. You don't need that. Interesting point though, Ghostcrawler reveals that he's a 25-man raider. Now this is a clear example of where a person... We always blame Ghostcrawler. He's the face of it, he's the brunt of it, and fair play for him to doing that because he has to pass on the company message. They're not Ghostcrawler's opinions, which most people cannot deal with. The idea that Ghostcrawler is replying, they're not always his opinions. The opinion of Blizzard. He feeds out Blizzard's information, this floating entity that takes no responsibility. But Ghostcrawler having a name to put to a face, like Coney 2012, right? There's a million people like Coney out there destroying the world in various respects, right? But of course, we put a name to a situation, and it's his fault. He's the asshole. He's the one we should be getting. That's the way the world works, sadly, for the uneducated people. And of course, Ghostcrawler is that. He's the face of Blizzard. He takes all the shit. Ghostcrawler reveals he's a 25-man raider. And sort of indicates in the wording of his replies that he's really not happy with the way raiding is going in World of Warcraft, which I think is fucking awesome. Without openly saying it, he subtly hints that he is not happy with the fact that 25-man raiding is dying a death. It's very subtly worded, and if you read it properly, and as he has worded his replies, he definitely has that indication of the way I read it anyway. This is all my opinion and my subjective point of view, but the way I read his responses were, I don't like what's happening to raiding. I don't like it personally, but this is the shape the game is taking. So some guy said, you basically killed 25-man raiding. I can understand the system had eventually some economical benefits for you. I don't think we compensate enough for the 25 logistical challenges yet. I only raid 25s. I read that as, we're not promoting 25-man raiding enough. Logistically, I disagree that 25-man raids are harder to organise than 10-man. It's whether or not you have 5 of one class or 2 of one class and just them showing up. There's more people available. It's easier to fill a 10-man raid than it is a 25. That's just a pure fact. That's all based on how many people you have available to raid. Managing them is not that much more difficult. It really isn't. Trust me, I've done it on multiple occasions. Managing a 25-man raiding guild is not, in a significant fashion, more difficult than running a 10-man raid. If you have 50 people ready to raid, it's no different than having 20 people for a 10-man. The raids are full, you can go and raid. It's no different at all logistically. Blizzard likes to point out that it's logistically challenging. This is promoting how hard 25-man guilds are working. They're working hard. But it's not true. I don't think it's true. Now then this topic comes up, and this is what I want your opinion on for tomorrow. If you can leave it in the YouTube comments, any of the live viewers, we want to see this. We want to see your views on this. 10 and 25-man raiding sharing the same lockout. I bring this up because it was a point Ghost raised to me. Ghost said to me, so I can only raid 10 or 25 in the same week. That sounds kind of shit. That only sounds kind of shit if you don't realise how annoying it is for endgame raiders. However, should we care about endgame raiders, such as I was? The answer is no. The answer is no. As much as, from an advertising and marketing perspective, endgame raiders are awesome. For bringing up guilds like Method onto the live raid is fucking fantastic. I saw it live at Gamescom. I had 3 people in the crowd at Gamescom filming Method's live raid, and there were thousands of people. It made our job very difficult to get really good camera shots of the guys, because I had to have them moving through thousands of people who were in Germany, in Cologne, who had come to see them raid and stood there throughout the whole experience of an hour raid, watching the guys raid. There is a huge interest there, and it's like having your top star up there. But there's so few of them left. There are really so few of them that really are pushing it to the limit, because there's not much incentive to do it anymore. It seems awesome that guilds get like a trip and an entry into an event like Gamescom and get to be on the live stage. That is a once-a-year event. Maybe you get the opportunity. 2 guilds in the world generally get to go and do BlizzCon, for example. You have to work extremely hard for that one payoff where you don't actually get paid. See what I'm saying? People think it's amazing that, say, a guild gets sponsorship. Some guilds are sponsored by SteelSeries, for example. They had to dedicate years of practice and work into World of Warcraft to be rewarded with a headset, which most of them probably had already, or a keyboard or a mouse. It's not that great. The payoff is not that great. But these are your poster boys. These are the guys you have at your events. For Blizzard, it's fantastic that there's still this motivation there for the big player base. Overall, their opinions actually don't mean a hell of a lot. And I think Blizzard has wisely cottoned onto the idea that no matter how simplified they make the general player base, there will always be somebody who's pushing to be first. That competitive nature lies within gamers across every single type of game. So it doesn't matter to them. They can do whatever the hell they want. If they decided to change it back to 25 and 10-man lockout, the endgame raiders will still do it. It doesn't matter, even though they will outcry. This is ridiculous. We have to raid twice as fast. Here's the problem with 25 and 10-man lockouts. If you are a serious guild, of which there are very few still around, comparatively to the player base, then you have to raid both. If you are super serious and you raid with an alt as well, and sometimes 2 alts, you are now raiding not 3 times a week. In the extreme case of having 3 raiding alts, which some guilds do, you're now raiding 6 times a week. The same instance. It's awful. I did it during Icecrown Citadel. It's awful. It's the worst experience ever. Within 2 weeks, you might have killed the same boss 12 times. You're burning out of this dungeon. This content is just awful. It's no fun anymore. It's just a waste of your life to be a part of it. And it really takes its toll. 3 weeks down the line, you're talking 36 kills of the same boss. 36. Not fun. Not fun. No, my math's off, isn't it? 6, 12, 18. 36, I don't know. Oh, we got a troll. You have no clue what you're talking about. Stop talking, play that gay-ass game. By the way, MMOs lick ass for noobs. Go commit suicide. Oh yeah, thanks for the IP address. DDoS time. Have a great day. Oh, man. You made me upset, dude. You know, you troll so hard. But it seems like you copy and paste that one. And you can't spell ass, which is really sad. It's 3 letters, dude. And you can't spell it. Sad face. So they're talking about maybe getting it shared again. Because the casual guys liked it. Especially the guys who were in a 10-man guild. They went through their 10-man dungeon with their friends, which is cool. And then they had the option to go play 25-man. If they wanted to. But it wasn't really necessary. Although in Ice Crown Citadel, it was done wrong. Because the gear was so separated in 25-man that what you had is people needing 25-man gear in order to do the 10-man heroic content. They needed 25-man gear. Most of them did need that. Otherwise, it was just incredibly difficult. I really hope they don't move back to sharing 10 and 25 lockout. And then people still doing looking for raid. Because even that with one main character, you're looking at potentially 3 raids a week there of the same boss and the same character. That's going to burn you out so quickly. So I really hope they don't go down that road. There's some discussion there about maybe they should do that. They're saying they don't want to push raiders into looking for raid, so we've already seen that the new set bonuses are terrible. They're so fucking boring. Looking for raid has ruined set bonuses. They can't make good set bonuses anymore without having to force people into looking for raid, which they don't want it to do. If you're a raider, you should have no reason to do looking for raid. That's what their theory is behind it. You're a raider, fine, you've got your raid guild. Looking for raiders for people who aren't raiders, who log in and want to do a bit of raiding, see the content and get some items out of it. The whole result is either tier sets should not drop in looking for raid, which I'm all for. They can have the same look as the tier set. I think that's cool. But I don't think the actual tier sets, a sort of lowered down dumpy version of tier sets, should drop in the looking for raid dungeons. Ultimately, if you're only doing looking for raid, you do not need mega set bonuses. You can have some set bonuses, I think. This isn't being elitist. I don't do this hardcore stuff anymore. So it affects me. I'm just being open about how it should work. Looking for raid should not drop the tier sets. It shouldn't. Because now, raiders who are doing that extra mile, and I still promote raiding and try to get you guys into raiding, it's just like, Looking for raid's spoiling it. It's spoiling one of the fun aspects, which was cool set bonuses. Like the raid-wide stuff. That would be awesome. It's really good stuff. But Looking for raid is kind of spoiling that. Yeah, remove the look. I just think we should remove the set. Yeah, even then, just remove the set bonuses from Looking for raid gear. So cool. Simple as that. The Looking for raid set bonuses do not count towards the set bonus. Easy. Easy as that. Any questions before we move on? So many of you here. So many here. Any questions? Have you got any questions for us? Lay it down. I want to see your opinion on 10 and 25 man raiding. I'd love to see your opinions on it. Do you want to go back to shared lockout? Do you like the idea of doing a 25 man and then doing 10 man with your friends? Do you think they should share the same gear level? It's always the big topic. Should they share the same gear level? I don't know. What do you think? Wow, this was a pre-copied question for sure. About a month ago, I joined a new guild and instantly clicked with most of the guild members. That's awesome. Guild members? Members. My voice is crazy. 2 weeks ago, I got promoted to an officer. Fucking hell. That's fast. So you've been there 2 weeks, and 2 weeks later you were an officer? That's crazy. And assistant raid leader in Mr. Pandaria. You make me feel worried about what guild you joined. I feel my DPS is adequate, but I'm worried that I'm not in the top 3 or 4 DPS. The other raiders don't respect me in my position. I wouldn't respect you either if you were promoted that fast. Off the cuff, instant thought that popped into my head. Not just because of your DPS, but your instant promotion. That worries me greatly. You should not be an officer within 2 weeks. I feel comfortable with my DPS at the minute, but there have been previous times in the other guilds where I haven't felt like I've been... where I haven't and felt like I've been carried through a couple of Dragon Soul runs while trying to pull my weight, and I generally didn't feel comfortable with those people. If when that comes up, how should I deal with it and keep their respect? Any ideas and suggestions? By the way, I play a Warlock, Affliction, and 10-man raiding Mr. Pandaria. Okay. The respect thing, I don't think it's to do with your DPS instantly. It's because for some reason you've been promoted incredibly quickly. Scarily quickly. You shouldn't be in that position straight away. If you want my idea, is you forget that it's anything to do with your actual DPS. Maybe you're a fantastic raid leader. I don't know anything about you. Maybe you've just got a really knack for raid skills. I would openly say something along the lines as, I know I'm in the officer position, I know I'm new, but if you have any suggestions about things you want me to put forward, let me know. Be a friend to the guys. And they won't care about your DPS. They won't care in the fucking least about your DPS. Just make sure, to gain their respect, they have to know that you're not some guy who's just instantly been promoted above them. You might even have people who have been waiting to become an officer, and now they can, because you've done it. So, talk to them. Understand what they're doing. If you're in a 10-man raid guild, you should realistically be the only warlock anyway. Therefore, comparing your DPS to other classes, especially now, is madness. Absolute madness to even think that is the reason that there's a lack of respect. I wouldn't worry too much about respect either. I want to know more about your circumstance. I really do. I want to know more about your circumstance. I wouldn't worry too much about respect at all. If you want their respect, you treat them fairly. You do it justly. An officer should always be fair and should know when to lay down the law and when to accept that they are wrong, because people make mistakes. Because you have an officer title does not mean that you are infallible by any means. You often make mistakes, which is normal. And then admit them, laugh about them, joke with them. But above all, talk to the people. Talk to the members of the guild. What do they think? Try and make it a democracy if you can. Democracy tends to almost work out better than most other systems overall in history anyway. At least it gives that illusion. And giving that illusions is equally as good as it actually doing what it should do. So think about that. Think about that. There's a couple of suggestions here. One, change it to 15 man and be done with it. Yeah, I mean, if you're Ghost Crawler, you know this is happening, okay? You're probably in the back seat. They've suggested it a million times in meetings. I'm sure, I could probably guarantee 100% that there was several major meetings when Mr. Pandaria was in production of should they switch to 15 man now. I'm pretty sure it's almost a guaranteed dead cert that several meetings, not just that it cropped up in a development conversation, but that many meetings were had. Should we make the move to 15 man now or wait? I think they've done the wise decision of allowing Mr. Pandaria to enter into a new sort of era of PvE raiding, where the first 2 tiers, remember we're getting 2 tiers at once in Mr. Pandaria, don't have a major lore character behind them, introducing a new setting, a new approach with the Alliance versus Horde approach, whatever that will be, coming into the forefront. I think then moving to 15 man towards the end, if not in the middle of Mr. Pandaria, is where they're likely to go. But if you're Ghost Crawler and you love 25 man raiding, which it sounds like he does, then you're not really happy about it. So they're trying to hold off on that. But just move straight to 15 man. I think it would have been premature to do that, just to say, right, now it's 15 man and be done with it. Although for them it would have been miles easier. You've got to remember, Blizzard doesn't always do what it wants. It has to pay attention to any developer, not just Blizzard, but they can't always do what they want. I'm sure from the design perspective, the top raid guys want to be 15 man right now. They would rather develop once, of course, I mean, from the basic idea that there's no 2 types of raids and adjustments to be made. There's just the raids, and they're 15 man, and that's it. They would love to do that, of course they would. But it can't be done right now, I don't think. It can't be done right now. 10 should drop the same gear as 25, except a few item levels lower. Interesting point, but does that mean 10 man should be easier? If you're a 10 man guild and your loot is worse than the 25 man's, the raid should be easier. Now, you've got the issue where 10 man has lost all the respect that Blizzard has tried to pour into 10 man over Cataclysm by making 10 man equal to 25 man. It's such a huge push that they gave it over the year. Then you've just thrown it all away by changing it back. And now 10 man guilds are just getting shit on. Anybody who cares about loot, which the majority of the players do, won't want to be in a 10 man. They'll want to go 25 man. And they will see it as now they have to work harder. There'll be all sorts of crazy QQ. I think the times of being able to switch back to that system are gone. I don't think it would even be possible. I think it would be a bit of a WoW killer on itself. It would implode on itself if they tried to do that now. They could slowly edge it in, but you see the outrage on just the legendary items. If you look at the outrage about the legendary staff and the easier time it can be acquired in a 25 man comparatively to 10 man, although all things considered, it was equal amount of people getting a legendary in around the same amount of time. Huge outcry. So if you add that, multiply that by every single item drop, you're going to have a big problem on your hands with the community. A huge problem.
We as DPS are semi-meat-headed. We like our numbers, and if I'm raiding on my Frost DK and there's another Frost DK giving me orders who's lower on the charts, then I am inclined not to listen. A lot of things that I'm noticing recently. It's going to be our last question of the day, so you don't need to no need to spam any more questions. This is the last question I'm going to do for today. And it's kind of something I wanted to do a daily on Friday, but I'm going to touch on it now, and then Friday we'll go balls deep into it. We'll get really buried into it. It's going to be pretty cool. Who do you think you're competing with on DPS meters? I think there's a lot of misguided information out there as who you're directly competing with. Let's have a little quick response from the live audience. You are raiding in your guild. Who are you competing with on the DPS meters? Who cares? Is it people of the same class and spec? Is it the raid overall? Is it something else? Who are you competing with? Who do you care about beating? Yourself? Interesting. Everyone. I compete with myself, yourself, people of the same class, with myself. Just beat the tanks. I love that. Just beat the tanks, you'll be alright. Yourself, the encounter, everyone. Oh, I haven't seen the correct answer I'm looking for. There we go. MattFish234 gave me my opinion, and we're going to talk about this heavily on Friday. I've noted this in for my Friday topic, but as I keep seeing it, I think it's worth thinking about now, and maybe on Friday you can bring up some of your ideas. In any raid, in any encounter, you are not competing with anybody else in your raid. At all. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. You are literally competing with everybody in the world. If you want to be a top DPSer, you're competing with the entire world who plays your class and spec, and you are looking at the website World of Logs. Just because you smash the DPS meters in your raid. Let's say you're that guy who is clearly generally better than other people in your raid. You work that much harder. You've practiced that much harder. You're generally inclined to perform better than other players. And you always top the DPS in your meters, in your raid. All the time. You're always number one. That doesn't matter a goddamn thing. It really doesn't. What matters is when you compare yourself against everybody else who plays your class. Now, I'm not saying that you go to World of Logs or a website like that and you just look at it and you say, oh, I came 36, there's 35 better players than me in the world. It's always important to check what those other players were doing. What happens is a lot of cheesing can occur, such as we used to have something like spam tricks of the trade on certain characters. Let's say Hagara Heroic, where all the 6 people get frost tombed. You would have one mage assigned to deal with it. Therefore, his numbers would be astronomically high in comparison to other mages around the world who are sharing their DPS with the rest of the raid. It's always important that you compare and contrast and see exactly what's going on. But what you're certainly not doing is competing with other people in the raid. That's not helpful to you as a player. As a DPS, you have to be more open than just looking at the damage meter and going, oh, I was bottom of the damage meter. Is your class spec performing well at the moment? Maybe not. Let's take Deke from Method. I won't be mentioning Method a hell of a lot more in the future. I know I refer to them a lot, but it's easier for me to do that. Deke's a fantastic player. Works really hard as his DPS. And he's a proper, true DPSer, in which he cares about his results a lot. And he does everything. I talked to him in depth about various different specs and things we could try in different bosses, different talents and abilities, and how we could weave them together and see if we could do this. Let's try different stances. Let's try this and that. And he loved it. And it's great to have a guy like that to talk to about those things. Because you're always worried, is this guy into this kind of stuff, or does he just sort of grab a spec? That's what's best. You've got some guy like Landsoul from Vodka who pores over his spreadsheets for hours and hours and hours to determine whether you should heroic strike or slam. I don't do that. I have a nice marriage in between. I want to talk about how my talents affect this boss. That's what was the big thing is in Mr. Pandaria is you have a list of talents. How do they change comparatively between boss to boss? Sometimes you want this talent, sometimes you want that one. And Deke's a great guy to talk to about that. And he was openly very, very upset when he saw that his damage was below everybody else's. I wasn't. I was completely different because I spoke to some other warriors from other top guilds and they were also getting the same results. So I repeatedly said in the warrior chat, don't worry, it will be fixed. But I feel fucking useless, which is right, because you should be contributing to your raid DPS equally. We're not going for the top world DPS in progress, but you can't be way at the bottom. You can't be. So in some respects, you are competing with other people in your raid. If you are noticeably way, way lower, for whatever reason, class, spec, ability, performance, whatever it might be, you're now useless, and therefore you won't come at all. when you're talking about balanced DPS, which we should hopefully have in Mr. Pandera. You've seen all, if you check the MMO champion, you'll see that a lot of damage tweets have gone in. We're now talking about competing with the rest of the world. Why is that person doing more than me? Oh, well, he's getting spammed with various buffs, so I can ignore that guy. His DPS is pointless. What about the next guy down? Oh, he played it clean. Why is he so much harder? Shit. And one of the things I was saying to Deke is, dude, why have you got like 3 times as many heroic strikes as me? He's like, I'm not sure. And I'm looking through the DPS logs, and I'm like, you're doing like, not only maybe 5 or 6k more DPS than me, but you're doing so many more heroic strikes, and I'm doing so many more of this. How are you getting so many more? I don't have the rage for it. I know it's very deep. It turned out the set bonus. Those guys were carrying the set bonus from Dragon Soul, which I didn't have, and then it all made sense, and there's nothing much I could do about it. But that's the kind of in-depth thing you want to be doing, and you're comparing yourself across the whole playing field of all the same spec and talents that you are playing. The only thing you need to care about in your raid is not about smashing the beaters or being middle of the class or anything like that. That's irrelevant. You want to be contributing similar numbers. If all of you are around 40 to 50k, then you're okay. You're fine and dandy. That's not your competition. That's not your competition. You're looking at the guy who's doing 55k in this guild over here, and everything's the same as you. That's when you take interest, and that's who you're competing with. So I'd love to see your thoughts on that. Let me see your thoughts on that for Friday. We're going to be talking about that more in depth. That was a bit of a whimsy sort of reply to that. But I'll definitely want to talk more in depth on that, because it covers so many grounds. It's easy for me to say, ignore your normal DPS meter and look at World of Logs. We can't do that. Ignore the, just look at your DPS meter, ignore everything else. You can't do that either. Just look at this. You can't do that either. It's all balanced, it's all relative, but it's important to make sure you become a top DPSer. Because if you're following me and you're following my guides, I'm hoping you're striving to become a top DPSer. I love it when guys actually contact me in game and say, dude, I think you're a little bit wrong on that, because I've figured this out for myself. That's fucking awesome. That's the old student becoming the master, student outplaying the master. That's fine. I'm not saying I'm a master. I'm awful in some classes. I do my best to demonstrate it. I do my best to express the theory behind it. I'm not always correct. I'm certainly not always correct in my play. But when you guys come to me and you say, I figured this out, what do you think of this? Or I read this today, what do you think about that? And it makes me go, maybe you're right there. That's the kind of stuff that I absolutely adore. So it's fucking awesome. All right, ballers. I'm off for the day. Have a great night. I will see you tomorrow. There is a video coming up in the next couple of hours. I'm still working on it. It was a tricky clip to get. It's the final tanking video of our tanking themed week. I also want to know, do you want to see healing themed week? I'm going to be mixing in the more proper stuff, but that's going to be sort of like a big Wednesday video for resets starting from next week, because we've got a couple of Wednesdays left. There's going to be some bigger videos coming then. But do you want to see a healer themed week or a DPS themed week next, while we move into MOP to get our preparation ready for styles of play and all that kind of stuff? Let me know in the YouTube comments. Have a great evening, or a great day if you are watching this on YouTube.